let's face it, I was just watching Robin Williams the other day, and oh, my ears, were burning, and it was because my headsets were on. So, but then you compare it with Ellen, and she can be really funny. She doesn't say anything foul. That's kind of, I don't know how that works. Bill Cosby was one of my favorites. I grew up with Bill Cosby. Anyone remember Bill Cosby?
Jello.
Jello pudding pops.
The Jello guy.
Jello guy, that's right.
Yeah, there's also on the Cosby Show and various stand-ups and.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be here.
Yeah,
He's
coming to town.
been here. $80 a ticket though.
His material went downhill though. Now he just rants about what's wrong with today's youth.
Oh, does he?
Well, there's a
Not
lot of
saying
stuff's
that,
wrong with today's youth, so it's not like he's gonna run out of material anytime soon.
That's endless.
I mean, there's only so many times you talk about guys wearing pants that are too small or hanging off their butt.
Well, that's why I have
Suspenders. Classics.
There you go.
They're classics for a reason.
And the
They'll
belt.
work.
See, not too tight, but just right.
And some people say, you shouldn't wear both a belt and suspenders because it makes you look insecure. And I thought, well, that's silly.
Yeah.
With both the belt and the suspenders, I'm much more secure. I love to make classes laugh and everything, but sometimes they laugh and I don't know why. Whenever that happens, the first thing I do is check. Pants are still there. Scary stuff. My age.
Comparing Robin Williams to Ellen, and then you go back to times like Bill Cosby and George Carlin.
Oh, George Carlin is, yeah. Well, I grew up with all of this. No wonder I'm absolutely a lunatic at this point, which is a requirement for the job. So that's good, actually.
I noticed that I didn't realize until I got a little bit older that Bob Saget was really a raunchy comedian. Because he's bad. Because he was on Full House. He was like the perfect dad, and don't say this, and then you get on stage and he's just wow.
Horrible mouth.
Oh my God, like.
Oh, Robin Williams. I mean, when I grew up, he was in Mork and Mindy, right? And honest, I did not know he was on cocaine. I was so disappointed when I found out later that that's what actually drove him, was cocaine and other things. Just absolutely disappointing. But today, I mean, he's, you watch him straight, and he can be really clean and really funny. There are some things he does, like for the art studio or whatever that he does, that all beautiful, nice, absolutely hysterical stuff. And then he goes on to like the Apollo or whatever, and he says things that, the invention of golf. I'm sorry, it might be absolutely hilarious, but I cannot show that to my dad. It's just wrong. And I'm sure it's not really Scottish.
But isn't it more the audience though? Audience based, because.
Well, that's part of the question. What I mean is not dependent on me.
It's
on,
how we see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The jury decides what you meant. I didn't mean to say that I was really going to kill her. We think you did, and you're going to jail.
But they could get acquitted and write a book if I would have took my wife.
This is how I would have done it.
Okay. So the issue though with Jabberwocky is you can invent words, but you cannot invent grammar.
Lane?
Grammar.
Oh, grammar.
Yeah. And that's a puzzle too, because if you look at like German, as you go north, hit Netherlands, go across to England, just looking at zwo, zwei, zwo, two, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. it's actually one language, right? Just incrementally changing as it goes. But also when you're auf Deutsch, wir müssen immer, what's the word for verb? I can't think of the word for verb, but the verb has to be at the very end. And so it was absolutely funny. My wife would literally, in conversation in German, like hold her hand like this until she got to the end of the sentence, and then would go like that. So it was almost like mentally she was storing that verb, where in English we put it in the middle, but in German you can't use it until you get to the end.
Same thing in Japanese, like if you wanna say my favorite color is yellow, you have to say my favorite color yellow is. That's how you get.
Sounds like Yoda.
Yeah, it sounds like Yoda.
Now you know Yoda's origins.
When 700 years.
Why is so short?
You can look at the you will not, you know, but, yeah. Well, the real puzzle for me is why in the March of, not the March of the Penguins, but what's the one where it's a cartoon where Robin
Happy
Williams
Feet.
is Happy Feet. Now, did you know some penguins speak English with a Spanish accent?
Mexican.
Mexican accent, you know.
Well, it's clear. Well, I mean, they lived in a hotter place. It was way more temperate there.
Okay, so it's a puzzle. It seems like we can't invent grammar, and yet it seems absolutely essential that grammar does change when you go from one so-called language to another. So that's an interesting puzzle. But we also talk about the word meaning. What does means mean? I remember philosophy. When we get into philosophy, we get into all kinds of issues in meaning. If you grow up thinking that a word means what the dictionary says, you have to step back and say, well, how did the dictionary come to that conclusion?
It's like asking why is red called red?
Or rose, or rouge, or
Rojo.
rosa, yeah.
Rosa, Rojo. Find different ways to say it.
It clearly seems, and another interesting aspect to this is, why do the languages change? Why do we adapt the way we speak? Living in Hawaii for a few years, the Army made me live in Hawaii.
I don't see
Darn
it.
it.
How dare you? First
I couldn't
Roman
stand
that
that.
did Hawaii. Oh, I went to Fort Polk.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we suffered in Berlin for 3 years, Fort Meade, Maryland.
You had like the perfect tour.
Well, and then Fort Richardson. I picked Fort Richardson because I wanted to buy the house. It worked. I bought the house. And then Kinea. They made us go to Hawaii for 3 months.
What island?
Such a sacrifice.
Hawaii. I worked in a secret place under the pineapple.
I started in Fort Jackson.
Big sign said, secret military base 3 miles.
It was actually 5 miles away.
We went from Fort Jackson to Fort Polk to Iraq to back to Fort Polk. We stayed. And I got out.
No Hawaii trip for you.
Yeah, I know. We stopped in Ireland and I got a beer.
Germany, I got a beer while I was in Germany. I asked for 1 beer. And they mistakenly gave me a pitcher.
Yeah.